Hey everyone, welcome to today's HubSpot Academy Masterclass. We're going to be talking about blogging for growth. My name is Courtney Sembler. I'm an inbound professor here on the HubSpot Academy team. And HubSpot Academy, we're the #1 leading resource here for learning and growing your business. We have free tools to help you grow that business and your career. And to help you with those things, I'm going to be joined here in a few minutes by Noah Kagan. And he is definitely no stranger to growing businesses. And Noah right now is the chief sumo at sumo.com and appsumo.com. And Noah helps entrepreneurs on his blog, OK Dork. He blogs about things like marketing, starting a business, personal improvement, and productivity tips. Previously, Noah was at Intel. He was employee number 30 at Facebook and number 4 at Mint. So we're going to have a lot to talk with Noah today about. But before we get started, I wanted to remind you that I want to hear from you. Noah wants to hear from you. Any questions that you have for us. So please comment on the Facebook Live comment section and use the Twitter handle and hashtag HubSpot Masterclass. So reach out to us. Let us know. We'll get your questions answered. So let's get started. Hey, Noah, how's it going? Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me today. Hello, all the HubSpotians. What do you call these people?
HubSpotters.
Spotters. What's up, spots? Spotties. I don't know.
Spotty. I like spotty. Awesome. So for all of those folks who might not know a ton about you or want to know more about you, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I've just gotten really lucky. I don't know, for 17 years on the internet webs, like the dub, it's just been this fun ride. I can't believe I get paid to play on a computer. At holiday parties, people are like, oh, my girlfriend's a nurse, and there's people that are, real jobs. And somehow I get to, teach and help people and make software online and get paid. The short of the career, I've always loved tech, worked at Intel, didn't do anything there. Early person at Facebook, you guys all use it. Mint.com, you used to use it. And sort of a few other things, but the main things I work on is Sumo Group. We have a few properties. They're all helping small businesses grow, similar to the HubSpot, very complementary. We have appsumo.com, which is a Groupon for geeks. So we have about 1 million people that we promote deals to for small businesses, totally free. Sumo.com, which are tools for small business owners to grow their email list. And our latest product, which is pretty cool, it is a Netflix for software. It's briefcasehq.com. Which is like a Netflix for software, $50. You get the software you need to run your small business.
That's awesome. There's a lot of stuff going on there. I feel you on that. Sometimes when I talk to my friends, I'm like, yeah, I get to work for HubSpot Academy. I get to talk to people like Noah for my job. It's pretty fun.
I get to talk to you I can't believe this is a job. Sometimes I'm just amazed that I do. The funny thing is I do this on the computer. That's all I do all day. And then money comes. And, if you really came and worked with me and people are like, I love to work with you. I'm like, you realize I just sit at a computer 8 to 12, 14 hours a day. That's pretty much my life.
Yeah,
and then
but it's fun.
No, it's super fun. And then 1 hour a day, I get to hang out with you and share the things that I've been learning over the past few years.
Which is pretty great. And so to get started on that, really, how did you get started blogging? I know that there's definitely a lot of things you blog about now, but where did that all start from?
Yeah, I would say I started in 2000. So I bought this domain, okdork.com, and I thought I would be able to sell it for millions of dollars. And I will say in the 17 years since I bought the domain, I've never had one offer. So I'm still waiting for it. I think one of the big things, especially for the audience and for myself, that I've learned is that I just started writing. And so if you're ever thinking about creating content or getting known or growing your business, it's that, can you commit 15 minutes a day to doing something? And so since 2000 until now, I've written almost every single week. And originally it was really me writing about oh, I love this girlfriend. Oh, she broke up. Oh, I have a new one. Oh, she dumped me. And then I started writing about business stuff oh, here's a stupid business idea. And I think it was a great skill that I just kept working on and practicing on. And eventually, I started getting some recognition around it. But also that's a function of I've been doing this for a very, very long time. And so now more on OkDork and other mediums, which we can talk about, it's led to really recognize what people are interested in me talking about, which is mostly how to start a business, grow a business, or online marketing.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a lot of what, we talk about here on the Academy team. How do you start that business? How do you grow it? But I agree with you. It comes down to just doing it. I write a ton just personally, and it doesn't happen unless, you set aside that time on your calendar to just start writing.
Yeah, I like doing 30-day challenges because I think a lot of those can become habits. So for January, I'm doing clean January. So no drinking, no drugs, no nothing, water, healthy living, all that kind of good stuff. And my friend and I are betting a Bitcoin. So I really don't, especially if it goes up, I'm going to be screwed. But that was one example, or one that I started. Literally, I met with Scott Tousley, who works at HubSpot, yesterday. And he's like, hey, every morning I write a gratitude thing, just one quick sentence. And I was like, oh, that's cheesy. I don't want to do it. He's like, okay, let's just do it 30 days. And so I just wrote it this morning. I don't know if I was appreciative for hot water. I think that was probably my one from this morning. But the point being is that any habit, as long as you can commit 15 minutes, put it in your calendar, block it out, and just do it every day. Eventually that muscle gets stronger and you can go a lot longer and your skills will improve.
Definitely. I set aside 10 minutes every morning to sit down and write. I'm trying to write a book, and that's what's going to get me there to do it, is that habit. And I mean, I know there's so many different things that we could talk about with writing and blogging, but I know that you probably hear from a lot of different marketers, a lot of different types of people on some misconceptions about blogging. Are there any things around that? Like, what are some of the misconceptions about, blogging and writing and, doing what you do?
Yeah, I'd say blogging, over what I'm noticing is that a lot of people think if you write it, they'll just come. And I think of it like, I think a lot of business, like relationships, like I've never had my wife just show up at my door. I'm like, oh, if I just wait at home, eventually she'll just show at the door. The only thing it shows her is like pizza delivery. And so that's generally not going to get you what you want unless you're hungry. And so with blogging, I think a big misconception is just that you write and you just keep writing, which is a good thing. You'll get the audience, so you'll get the right audience. And I think most people don't actually spend enough time figuring out, like, how do I work backwards from the customers I want? So they're not actually doing any of the promotion or I always call it the hard work, which is like getting outside of your computer and actually talking to people or promoting it or working on that versus staying behind your computer. The second thing that, I've been doing online marketing in businesses 17 years now. And the second thing that I sucked at, and I still suck at, and I'm still working on, is that I don't think we actually define target customers well enough. I know HubSpot has had a lot of success as you guys did define your customer. And with our businesses, I think we've done an okay job and can do better. But with your blogging, it's like, how can you just write to one single person? And then how can you just be so specific that when that person finds your content or sees it, is just like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. So that would be number two. And number three, I don't think people are actually doing great quality writing. A lot of people do really poo-poo writing, and they're like, wow, I don't know why no one's reading it. I'm like, well, it's because it sucks. It's shitty content. It's a shitty product. It's like a restaurant that has a crappy dish. You're not going to go back and eat there if you didn't like the taste of it.
Right.
And so I think maybe two things that I would relate to that is that, the results you'll get are likely a function of your input. So if your input is like half an hour of writing on an article, you're not gonna get anything. In the 17 years I've been writing, to give you an example, in 17 years, I've had 3 articles go viral. Three articles out of 1,000 go viral, meaning that they got 100,000 people view them in one day. And those articles all took me between 3 and 6 months to write.
Wow.
And you could also say that I'm a slow writer. Oh, wow, he doesn't know how to type. And that's not really true. But the point being is that things take a long time. That's a misconception. People think it's going to be quick. People aren't promoting it enough. And 3, you have to put the work in and making sure it's a high quality dish or blog post. And really think about that. I think if people realize, like, did I put 30 hours into this article? No. All right. That's probably why it's not working that well.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot that people can learn from that. I mean, when you think about that quality of the product and targeting those right buyer personas, you can apply that to so many different things. But if you don't know who you want to be reading your blog post, or even just any piece of content you're putting out there, it's like, why is anyone going to pick it up if you yourself didn't know who should?
Well, two of my favorite things with marketing, especially with blogging, is number one, when people say, I see you everywhere. I don't know if you've ever heard that with your business, but with a lot of people, it's like, man, I see you everywhere. It's like, you don't see me everywhere. You see me everywhere I want to see the right person. Right. And I think that's a key thing when people are blogging. And then the other thing is, like, I do think people are writing and maybe they are doing a good quality content, but I think the thing that you have to also consider when you're blogging is, what are you going to be known for? Right? Like when people say HubSpot, they're like, blogging. These guys just blog a crap ton. People say Buffer, they're like, oh, those guys just share everything. They're hippy dippy. When people say Sumo, they probably say quirky, right? We're kind of like quirky, like small business people. And so, I think different businesses have to be known for certain things. So I would say for yourself, as you're doing your blog post, do you have data that's proprietary? Do you have knowledge that just no one else can have? What is your unique advantage or unique angle that people will recognize you for? And I think the more that people can do that in their blogging, the easier it will be for them to get more attention and traction around their work.
Yeah, and I love that data piece. I mean, I know personally from reading your blog and OK Dork, I actually was reading one the other day about time management that I continue to go back to because I love it. I'm such a time management geek. But I know that with all of that, you are a huge data person. But like, what are the type of metrics that you personally look at on an ongoing basis versus when you really want to do a deep dive into that data? What are the types of things you look at there?
Yeah, it really depends on your business. Specifically for blogging, I'll tell you just with sumo.com recently, we have a content lead named Chris. And the first 3 months of the year, the second half of the year, I had him focusing on traffic. And it was like, Chris, I don't care what you do. Here's your traffic goal. And then whatever things add up to that is really up to you. And so his traffic goal, I think the first month was 100,000 uniques, then 150,000, and then 200,000 uniques. And, I think what people do is they get confused because there's so many different numbers to look at. They're like, well, there's this number and this number, and I'm a data-driven person. And whenever someone says that to me, I'm like, you're not. So never say you are. Right? Whenever someone says that to me, I'm like, okay, this person doesn't know anything about data because I don't even know anything. And I don't act like I do. But the thing is, I think simplify to a specific North Star. So maybe pick traffic. But here's what happens. Go and look if that number actually correlates to growth in your business. So for example, we picked traffic and he did hit 100,000, 150,000, 250,000 in, I think, a 3-month time span.
Wow.
Our number of registered signups and our number of revenue did not change whatsoever. So I think that was a big realization where it's like, oh, we grew all this stuff, but it didn't actually move the needle. And I think that's one of the biggest problems with marketers today is they get so excited to do things, especially the newest things and the shiny things, but they don't actually take a look and say, what's actually working? And then what stuff can I stop? So as we recognized that it wasn't growing our business, it wasn't changing the amount of people signing up, we actually said, well, what can we do directly to really help our business? And it's more, we changed it to an MQL goal, which is kind of new marketing speak for marketing qualified lead. So now the content team is responsible for how do I drive qualified people that would be interested in using sumo.com. And so what that does to them is instead of just getting as many people reading the blog post as possible, it's two things. How are we writing the right content for the right people? How are we promoting it to those people, which obvious, but how are we promoting it to the right people? And third, how are we transitioning people coming to the content and transitioning that to a sign up? Like, do we have a pop-up? Do we have a scroll box? Do we have in links, content upgrades or whatever you call, to really encourage people to sign up so they can hit their marketing qualified lead? And I think that's a better, it's actually more, if the traffic one grew business, then we would just stay with that, but it's not, it's too broad. And this marketing qualified lead seems more direct. On my personal blog, OK Dork, it was more around email list. So everything was email list. Instead of, do I have to write a lot of articles or a little? I didn't care. It was more what helped grow the email list the most and then doing every activity around that. So I generally, in my business, the way we've always run it with Sumo Group for 8 years now is we have one company goal and there are sub things that help line up to that goal. Like, so if revenue is your goal, you probably need a certain amount of signups from the blog and you need a certain amount of sales from the sales team. And then you need a certain amount of churn reduction from the support team or experience team. All that will add up to it. But again, I just like one simple goal and focusing on that.
And focusing on that. Yeah. And I love what you say about email lists. I'm personally the email marketing professor on the HubSpot Academy team. So I talk a lot about building your email lists and how to make those segments. Do you want to talk a little bit more about how you build those email lists and like why collecting those email addresses for blogging is so important? And I focus a lot of it, of course, on the email marketing side. You got to have those segments, but more from the blogging side. What are your sort of thoughts around your email list and how you build it?
I mean, your email list is your ATM. And I don't mean to dehumanize the people that are on like my mailing list or your mailing list or any email list, but your email list is your ATM. It's your ability to interact for transactions or just education with people. I'm always shocked that people don't have a mailing list. What most people do is that they start a company, like I'm going to sell soda water, or I'm going to sell a phone or whatever it is. And then they have to go out and find customers. And for me, I don't know if it's fortunate, but it's also planning. It's the gardening mentality versus a hunting mentality, which is go and educate people, get them on your mailing list, have trust with them. So when you finally do have something you want to interact, that they'll be ready for it. An example of that is my friend Shane Snow. He doesn't really grow his mailing list. He's an author and he's popular on LinkedIn. And I love his book, but he has a new book coming out in 6 months. And I'm like, well, if you had 10,000 people you were talking to once a week, interacting with, then when you launch your book, you would easily be able to sell 500 copies. Instead, now he's like, all right, well, now I should start this mailing list and start interacting with people. So I think that the two things I would recommend, it's not the quantity of your email list, it's the quality. I think that's something I've actually changed over the years. I don't care how many, I have a 10,000, 100,000. I don't care. It's about the people on that mailing list. Do they give a shit when you say, hey, please read this, or I recommend this, or go buy this? Do they actually listen to you and engage with you and trust you? And then secondly, you need to have a consistency in communicating with them. So instead of just getting as many people as possible, and I have pop-ups freaking everywhere, have them less so people actually have to earn getting into the mailing list. And then secondly, interact with them at least, I do it every week, but at least twice a month. Because think of it like, again, going back to that garden analogy, if you stop watering your plants, they're going to die or decay. And people want to hear from you, even if it's like, hey, I have nothing going on. What are you up to? Like funny enough, my two most popular emails, the first one was literally an email about nothing. I just said, hey, I'm not selling you anything. I have no Instagram quotes for you. I've got no another blog post for you to read or a YouTube video or nothing. That's it. I just want you to have a great day. And then another one, I was just like, hey, I want to thank you for you being you, and leave a comment with your name and I'll put you in my next podcast, the Noah Kagan Presents podcast. I was like, just leave a comment and I'll put you in the podcast. And those are my two most popular. So the ones where I'm not trying to sell or even do anything, just like kind of fun ones, have gotten the most reactions and engagement in 17 years.
And that's fantastic. I mean, that's really getting at that, human and helpful aspect of email that I love to talk about. And getting that consistency is I can't say enough how much that consistency matters, particularly when you look at things like email deliverability and getting people to open up your emails. If you're not consistent when you send to them, and when, if they're not expecting you to get those emails, then that's going to decay. So there's a lot definitely with those email lists that I'm excited that you are seeing. Me as an email nerd, I love to talk about it.
Well, I don't think any girl or boy grows up like, I want to be an email marketing person. It's not like what we dream. I think when I think of email in general, it really relates to blogging. So, and at the end of the day, like a lot of bloggers, like food bloggers and mommy bloggers and these kind of people, a lot of them get their traffic from Facebook, social, and Pinterest. So they don't actually care about their email list because the amount that it drives is so insignificant. But mostly people I've noticed who are service or info marketers, physical products, or SaaS or e-commerce businesses, the email list is like it's the truth to them because that actually moves the needle. So for them, it makes a big difference.
Definitely. It definitely move those needles a lot when you can build that trust and have that value with those people on your email list. And as you're saying, when then new things do come out, you already have that series of followers that that you can reach out to, and you're not having to scramble at that last minute to find more people.
Yeah, one of the most common things, Courtney, that everyone says is like, oh, well, how do I get them to increase my open rates, and how do I get my reply rates, or how do I get people to read my articles? And I just think you got to make them your online boyfriend.
Online boyfriend.
Or your online wife or online fiance or whatever it is that you want, partner. I don't care. What do I mean by that is that, if people are, how do I get my open rates up? I'm like, well, whose emails do you always open? You open your boyfriend's emails every single time. You reply to your mom's emails every single time. And I think there's something in that mentality about what is it about that relationship that's different than this relationship. And so how do you get more to that level where like they're looking forward to your communication and they're always excited and you're the first that they reply to? And a lot of that is like consistency, right? I've been with my mom a long time. I've known 35 years I've been with this lady. She's, helped me. She's helped me a lot. It's not always her asking. She's a Jewish mother, so she nags, but there's a lot of asking and helping me. Oh, Noah, do this. Noah, do that. Noah, how was the HubSpot interview? And from time to time, she needs me to do things. And I think the more that you can kind of create that parallel with your customers on an individual basis, if you can even, then you'll be more successful and you'll have open rates and reply rates in a successful business and blog.
That's fantastic. I know I love receiving emails from you. Got one this morning. It was pretty great. So I love seeing stuff coming into my inbox with your name on it. But if my boyfriend ever sent me an email, that would be a very interesting day. I don't think he's ever sent me an email.
What do you mean? Your boyfriend never emails you?
No, there's no way he emails me. I don't even think he knows my email address.
Your real boyfriend?
Yeah. Why would he email me?
I emailed my girlfriend this morning about there's a crazy Jim Carrey video about how he's doing art now. And I think he lost it, which is really fun to watch. So if you guys just search Jim Carrey Vimeo art. I'll have
to see that.
But yeah, email that. Anyways, that's strange. That's another thing we got to go to therapy and talk about.
Well, besides from my boyfriend not emailing me, Something that our users love and we talk a lot about with them is examples. And so I'd love to hear from you. I know that OKDork is a great example of a, fantastic blog. I love it. It's really entertaining, but what are some other blogs or places that you find inspiration? What inspires you? What are some standout blogs in your eyes?
Yeah, and I want to come back after this to the metric stuff. I have a thing that I think for most bloggers has been really helpful. It's changed our business dramatically and our blogging dramatically. Yeah, I think in terms of blogging, the first one that comes to mind is Priceonomics.
Oh, okay.
So I've really, really enjoyed their writing this year. A lot more I don't know. I think lately I just don't read as many blogs, and I'm more into books, right? Because I feel like the quality of them is a lot higher. And then I do more of the podcast. I feel like that plus YouTube has been where the production values are getting higher and the quality is getting higher, and I can consume things in a quicker amount of time. There hasn't been as many blogs for me that have stood out and been like, oh, this is the craziest one that I'm liking. Let me pull up my favorites list. I don't know. Do you use Get Pocket at all?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Love Get Pocket. I'd say some of the better ones. David Skok, who is a HubSpot investor for Entrepreneurs.com. I think his content is just so consistent. He's a really consistent writer. I've always enjoyed his material. I like our stuff. I'm selfish because that's why I write it. But those two, Priceonomics and David Skok.
Awesome. Yeah, I think there's always different examples that you can pull for, different reasons, whether it's not a blog, maybe it's a podcast. I know that I personally like to listen to more podcasts. I hang out on medium.com a lot and read ton of content there because it has an audio version. So I can listen to it while doing other things, which makes it so much easier when things are, busy.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing I realize is that most of the content that I read is like an appetizer where it never really fills me up. And so that's the part where I actually read, I think over the years I've read less blogs because I don't think the actual stuff that you're going to significantly learn, it could come from a blog post. But I'll tell you, there's so many blog posts I've read it and then I go do what they say or they recommend a marketing tactic and I do it and it doesn't work for me. And so a lot of the times I find like books are much more researched. The YouTube is a little higher quality. So just search a specific topic that you want to learn, try that out. And then most importantly, I think if it's about learning marketing or blogging, it's just go do it. Just go actually make the things yourself instead of consume. So I think a thing that someone that's watching this can think about is that how much am I consuming versus how much am I producing? Consuming, creating. Well, how much are you spending that time? And I think the more that you tip the scale in creating, you'll actually get, a lot more growth and traction than reading, blogs consistently.
Yeah, and that makes sense. If you go and do something, the two best ways to learn how to do something is you do it and you teach someone else how to do it. So if you get in there and, do it and then teach someone else how to do it, that's how you're actually going to learn it.
I love that. That's a great message. I just think, when people think about what they're reading, I think there's, hey, I'm reading because I just need something to kill time. Totally fine. There's nothing right or wrong about that. But I'd say for everyone listening, just reflect on what have you learned recently and where did that come from? So instead of worrying about what Noah learns, because you probably don't, my stuff might be boring for you. But for instance, Ray Dalio's Principles, he put out a free PDF. Let's see, he has his book now. That book it's a century book. It's phenomenal. And for me, that's okay, something with books that's really sticking with me. So let me just keep going with that and just reflect for yourself. Maybe it's meeting with other people, maybe it's masterminds, maybe it's meetups, maybe it's forums, whatever that is.
Yeah. And I love to learn from books. I had a goal in 2017 to read 200 books in 365 days. And I'm at just about 190 right now. So
wow.
10 more books in the last little bit of December here.
Good for you.
Yeah. But I focused on trying to, what did I want to learn in 2017 and found as many books as possible on those type of things. And I don't think I want to do 200 books next year, but it was a good experience for this year.
I think one of the other things for people out there is that if you want to learn something, just go interview a person who's great at it. So for example, Paul English, who's the founder of kayak.com, I cold emailed him maybe 4 months ago and I was like, hey, I have a podcast and I have a blog. And this is one of my favorite techniques from Mint. This is one that helped us grow a lot. Shane Snow, the writer, this is what he does. Is just if you want to get free content plus grow, just go interview people. And then plus you get to learn really amazing things. So Paul English this morning, I was like, well, how do you structure your teams? How do you do product management? How do you raise your children? And I'm literally learning from one of the best in the world who's done this stuff. And so that's even, if just go directly to the source and then promote them. So you get free content and you get to learn, and, probably you get a cool connection out of that.
Definitely. One of the inbound professors on the Academy team, Kyle Jepson, just an entire certification on the sales enablement course that is all interviews. He went out, interviewed a bunch of thought leaders in sales enablement and built an entire certification around it. And even though I have an email course, I have to say the sales enablement certification might be one of my favorite, just based off that idea that it's all interviews. Get out there, talk to those people, which is fantastic. But with going off some of these examples that we sort of talked about, I know that we spoke a little bit yesterday about, what tips might you have about what people should write about? When they sit down Monday morning, what should they think about writing about? How did they start that process?
Yeah, so there's definitely like an SEO. There's different approaches, right? So there's a whole, and we can talk about this later, about like what's your content strategy? How do you figure out your blogging strategy? I will say from the topics, how I do it, I do basically two things now. So writing takes time, right? Putting together like very thoughtful content and blogging or YouTube or podcast is not like I can just go and spit it out. So what I've been doing lately is I throw things out on LinkedIn or Twitter, and I literally just kind of see what topics get the most responses. And so I'm looking for like, all right, like at a hospital, there's like I don't know what they're called, but the pulse thing.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I don't know. I have to ask my girlfriend, but it's just like, okay, so sorry, what's that?
An EKG, right?
Yes, EKG. Yeah, okay. Thank you. So I'll put things out, and it's more what I like to do is kind of like, all right, let me see what works at a very like low risk, low time commitment level. And then I can go invest in the ones that are actually like, oh, wow, people go crazy about this. And I think that's just an overall good marketing strategy, which is just like put out some things, validate it, and then see what works, and then go harder on it. It's the same thing with the content for our Sumo blog. Like we've tried a bunch of different topics and articles over the years, like 3.5 years now. And it's like, okay, we've kind of narrowed in on what topics people really want. But that's after, trying lighter ones out. So for me, like I'll put out something about like here's a tweet from recently, like criticism easy is creation is hard. And that went super popular. Like a lot of people seem to really resonate with that. So then that will lead me to be like, okay, there's something about creating things is hard. Let's talk about creation and, be maybe less critical of other things, which led to a podcast episode. And so I think my recommendation is like try things out on smaller scales so there's less risk for you. And then that there's a likelihood that there's going to be popularity around that topic.
That's awesome. The low risk, I think, is also important for a lot of people. I know the HubSpot customers I talk to who might be listening. It's like, how do we do this, but make sure that it's not, wasting our time or wasting the people that I work with? If you work on a small to medium sized business, you don't have time to waste. You got to be able to crank really quickly.
Well, and I think the balance is that content marketing and blogging can work for, I would say, every business. But recognizing what works in your business. That's really the ultimate thing that matters. So, for our businesses, for example, so AppSumo, it's grown to a, 8-figure company, and we don't blog at all. Like we've never blogged. You could argue that the deals are kind of a form of a blog, but it's not really. And, we'd say like sumo.com, a fourth or a fifth of our revenue comes from our blog.
Right.
And so it's just different businesses have different ways of growing. And so figuring out which method it is for your own business. I'd say the ultimate thing, though, with content and blogging and in general, even email, is that it's all related to education, right? So HubSpot does an amazing job of like an academy and certifications and content. So if you're educating people, there's a likelihood that they'll want to trust you and then buy from you at some later point.
Right. And I know that, you had said in there a little bit that we were going to circle back to more of the content calendar blog strategy piece of once you sort of do figure out what those topics are that you're going to write about, what does that content calendar look like, or that blog strategy sort of formula or tips that you have?
Yeah. So I'm going to go over 3 things that we do, and I'll just tell people exactly how we do it. So there's no mysteries or anything like that. Basically, I'm trying to figure out the easiest way to break this down. So what you have to do first off is come up with your blogging strategy. So what is going to help you? Well, let's even take one step back. What's your goal, right? Is your goal traffic? Is it revenue? Is it email? Is it MQLs? Whatever it is for you, I don't care. That's up to you. Is it social shares? Is it ad revenue? Whatever that is. So that's the number one thing that you're going to do. Number 2, you're going to figure out your strategy. So the strategy that we use for Sumo content is basically, I don't know if it's like a plus strategy, but we basically have social articles so that they're not going to probably be searched on Google, but they're articles that are going to get shared heavily. And so those we call Sumo growth studies. So we go out and literally spend around $2,500 writing an article, paying writers and editors and designers to put together this 80-page article around how a company grew. So that's kind of like one part of our strategy. And the second part is our long strategy, which is the horizontal, which is more around things that people are going to search in Google. And so the way I always recommend people to do it is, how do you take proprietary data that only you have access to? Because no one else can copy it. Right nowadays, like I put a blog post out, someone literally, no joke, just copied it, changed the title. I was like, I wrote all that. What the hell? But it's easy to copy nowadays. So you have to create things that, how do you have something that no one else can copy? So, do you have a certain amount of information? Do you have survey data? Even if you don't have software, do you have survey data? Do you have interviews? Is there anything that you can do that no one else can do? And that's more of our long tail approach. So we do these growth studies and then we do marketing studies. So that's number one. And it all should tie, we put this in a spreadsheet and say, oh, well, here's the goal of our MQLs. Here's the things we're doing to that. Is it actually leading towards it or not? The second thing we do, I'm actually just looking at exactly our list. So we have that consistency. So if you are going to be doing content and blogging, I would say consistency is one of the most important things. So if you have like a TV show that you like, I don't know what people watch these days. Like Bachelorette? I don't know what people watch.
Stranger Things. Everybody watches
Stranger Things. Well, nowadays Netflix has ruined it, but most people like that every Monday night is Monday Night Football, or every Sunday is going to be a certain show. And so when you get into that rhythm and routine, people are already conditioned for that. So are you doing something every week consistently that people are starting to look forward to? And so every week we already have, we plan out probably a month of writing ahead of time. So that content calendar, so this week is increase e-commerce traffic. Next week is going to be a case study, one of the longer tail things. Then we have one of the vertical ones, which is a growth study. And we kind of go back and forth throughout the month. One of the most important things in marketing, and I'll go over two other things that are critical with this, is that I don't think people go back and actually see what's working. So on a monthly basis, we go and track every single article and we say which topics and content drove us towards our goal. So for instance, we had this article about best email opt-in tool. That drove a lot of qualified signups. Why don't we do more of articles like that? And I think most times as marketers and business owners, we just kind of just keep going. And it's because we're busy and it feels good because we're like, things are happening. So one, you have to revisit and debrief, like, how are things been going? What can I do more of? And what can I kill? And you've got to be diligent about that. Two other things that we do, and I want to highly recommend it. In every single one of our articles, I'll take like a screenshot. We have a promotion checklist in every single article. So here's an example of it. Let me just I'm just taking a quick screenshot and you can post this on Facebook or something like that. So every single article here, we promote it. And I think that's something that people write these articles and they spend so much time on the 80%. It's like you're running a mile and you run really well the first 3 laps and the last lap, you just give up. And one of my mom's favorite quotes is like, push hard in the last lap because you'll forget how hard it was once it's over.
Right.
And I'm like, that's a great, once it's over, you're done and you can rest, but at least go as hard as possible. And so we have this, this is like a 15-point checklist on every single article we do. And sometimes we're even going further, depending on the article, but it's like, you're outbound emailing people? Are you posting on Facebook? Are you posting on Twitter? Are you posting on Quora? Are you posting on LinkedIn? Are you putting it in GetPocket? Are you putting it in Flipboard? Are you posting it on Meet Edgar? Are you running ads to it? Have you tested the images? Have you tested the headlines? This is every single article. And I think the more that you create consistency and predictability in your promotion, the more that every one of your content is going to keep doing better and better and keep reaching a larger audience. And then the last thing that we do related to our overall strategy is called a proactive dashboard. And this is one of my favorite things that we've added this year. Is the idea of a proactive dashboard is that if you write a blog post, can you guarantee that people are going to read it? Not really. No. You can't. I can't, unless I print it out, fly to Boston and force Courtney to read it.
Which is welcome. Come on over.
I'll come hang out with y'all. Maybe when it's less cold. But a proactive dashboard, and this is what I've loved, is that, and I learned this from David at grasshopper.com, is what are things in your blogging and in your business that you have full control over? So things that you're not dependent on anybody else. I'm not hoping Google does something, but I can control how many people I email to say, hey, here's an article, you may like it or share it or link to it. I can control that. I can't control how many titles I test. I can control how many images I test. I can control how much ads money I spend. Or David, for instance, one of the guys on our team, he does 2 email marketing opt-in tests. So 2 tests every week to grow the email list on our blog. or 2 tests every week to get more people to listen to our podcast. And so a proactive dashboard, I highly recommend it. There's a video up on YouTube, proactive dashboard, that you can see exactly what we do. And I think there's a template of it so people can copy it. But this has been one of the most dramatic changes in our business, because I think so many of the times we're waiting for things and we're like, well, I can't, let's just see how it goes. And I think this has really helped us start thinking, all right, what can we do? And then when we do it, we're like, did that help us or not? So we used to post all of our articles on like Pinterest, and we used to do a bunch of core articles, like 5 a week. And that was because we could control it. And then after 3 months, we said, Pinterest is not driving any traffic. Core is not driving any traffic. We killed it from our proactive dashboard, and we added in LinkedIn. And so now every week we do 5 posts on LinkedIn. And so I think that, that kind of ties everything together. Is like, instead of being reactive, like what can you do with your blogging and with your business?
That's fantastic. I think those 3 that you just broke down are going to be really helpful for everyone that's sort of listening and getting started with those. I think that, idea of being able to have that proactive dashboard, looking at things, and, even when you look at emails and sending them out, you got to test, you got to analyze it. You can't just send it off and, keep on chugging without, looking back and see what performed well. We do have our first question that just popped in. So I want to make sure that Andrea here gets out there. So she asked, how do you feel about partnering on content, not contacts? I teach management, and it is like plugged into my brain all the time. But she says, how do you feel about partnering on content? She says, I love your blog and I have some data that I could add. Can we team up to repost on a new version?
Yeah. I was thinking about this recently. Can you imagine going to a restaurant and someone gives you free food and you get a great meal? Yeah, it's awesome, right? Yeah. So I think that's the way I've been thinking about, like, how do you do partnerships, where how do you go to someone and you just hook them up with such a great thing that they're just excited to give it away. And that's what I love guest posting. That's actually where I was thinking, this is what I was thinking this morning, Courtney, before we got started. I said, if I had I have literally zero audience, no social, no Twitter, no nothing. There'd be 2 things I would do to grow my business. Number 1, I would go join Facebook groups. And I would just get super active in very targeted Facebook groups around specific topics. It could be like Austin startups. It could be around Cleveland gardeners, whatever it is, and just be the most helpful person in that group. What'll happen is eventually people start reaching out to you. You'll probably, if you want, start blogging, and you could post in that group because you've been really active. And that's literally like the fastest way that you can get recognized in a specific vertical or area. You can also do that like on Growth Hackers or inbound.org, whatever it is. The point is like, go find a group that you can just go start helping people. And literally, if you help people for a month in some type of group, you will get recognition, and then you can start doing other things with people in that group. The second thing is guest posting. I feel like people have talked about it for so long, so I'm not going to go into it too much. But I think what happens with guest posting is that when we approach people and we try to do partnerships, what we're actually saying is, hey, I really just want this shit for myself. I don't really want to help you at all. Can you just like send me your customers? Right? That's actually what we're saying. But the email is like, hey, I want to help you out. And, oh, I love your stuff. And, oh, can we do this? And it's like, no, really, just send me your customers. I hate you. Just die. I'm like, what? What is going on? No. And so the point being is that if you approach people, actually put in the work. So let me give you an example recently. I found a guy's article online. I'll just give you 2 quick stories. I found an article online by this guy, Chris Von Wilpert, and he wrote about HubSpot. And I said, this is one of the best articles I've ever seen. I'd love for you to write an article, and I'll promote it to all of my audience. I'll put ad dollars behind it. I'll put Twitter dollars behind it. I'll put social behind it. And he went out and then wrote this article on Intercom that went pretty viral. So I got a free content. I didn't have to write anything. And then he got a crap ton of exposure. And so I think you really have to think about, how is it great for the other person? Really great. Not like it's like bullshit great. Another example of that, there's a guy that works at Atlassian named Kevin Indig, and he wrote an article, and I just really loved it. And I was like, hey, you're a great writer. Let's just be friends and stay in touch. And I said, hey, what's important to you right now? What are you trying to accomplish? He's like, I'm trying to grow my brand and recognition. And I was like, I'm really focused on the Sumo blog. So if you can write anything related to e-commerce, who's our target customer, see, full circle, came back Lion King style. I said, hey, if it's e-commerce related, I'll take a look at it. Otherwise, I don't care. And so I didn't ask him to do this. 2 weeks later, literally 2 days ago, he sent me a 4,500 word article on e-commerce marketing. That's one of the best I've ever seen. I didn't ask for anything. I didn't make him do anything, but he basically came and gave me a delicious meal that now I am like excited to go to tell everyone about this restaurant. and I want to go promote him. And so I think the ultimate thing, and we all know this shit. That's the part I hate. But I still make the same mistake. We all know to go help and go give and make it great for someone else, so it's great for them. Subsequently, it'll be good for you. But I think you have to kind of remember that and get into that mindset. So those are kind of some of the stories recently. It's like really go and think, how is this great for the other person? And then subsequently, I'll get what I want.
Yeah. And I think that can be true with so many different things that, we look at, even just generally in life. When you ask someone about something, it's like, how is it great for you? How am I going to add value to you and your business and your life that will in turn, of course, help me? I just want to say for everyone listening, as a reminder, please ask questions, use that hashtag HubSpot Masterclass, comment below. I'll happy to get them out there to Noah as we continue chatting here for the next 20 minutes.
Yeah, I'm looking at this Twitter stuff. It's going pretty crazy. So, hey, holler at me at Twitter at Noah Kagan, and I'll holler back at you guys. It's pretty cool. All these other quotes and stuff. We should just come up with more quotes.
There we go. Just like the next 20 minutes, we sit here and we're quotes. I mean, we were talking about like a blog rap before we got on here. So I'm still waiting. I think
it may have to go down. If they stay to the end, we'll have to drop some lyrics on them.
There you go. So I want to shift a little bit and talk more about goals. At HubSpot, we talk a lot about aligning vectors and making sure that all the activities in your organization, in your business, are aligned sort of really towards that central goal, whatever it might be. On the Academy team, we talk about transforming the way the world does business. That's our goal. That's our mission. What are some ways that you do that with your blog or with, Sumo? What are the ways that, you really look at a central goal and align everything around it?
Yeah, I don't know how other people do goals. I'm curious because I don't know how. I just kind of, I think as you get older, you figure out your own ways and you kind of get set in them. For me, the way that I've learned it from Mark at Facebook was just basically pick one goal and everything aligns around that. And I know people are like, well, what about this other goal? And what about this other goal? I'm like, you can do everything, but it probably won't work well. When I started this year, I had one goal, which is to grow my podcast to 100,000 downloads an episode. And what happens is when things get challenging, we then start adding other things. We're like, this one's hard. Maybe this will be easier. So then I started YouTube. Then I was like, well, YouTube's hard. Maybe I'll start this. And I just kept adding more and more things. And then I eventually realized like, you can only do one thing great. You can do many things good, but if you want to be amazing, you can only do one thing great. And Elon or Steve Jobs, they're not human. They're robots. Okay. But if you're a human, you're only able to do one thing great. And so pick one thing to be great at. Pick if it's going to be your content, if it's going to be video, if it's going to be podcasts, if it's going to be whatever type of service or business you are, pick one thing and be great at it. So for us in our company, in the 8 years we've been doing it, we each year have just one singular goal for the business. The one thing I would say that, and I'll give you some of the examples and I'll tell you how it's changing, my perspective is changing on it. First year of AppSumo, it was to get 50,000 email subscribers. And the reason that is that the more email we got, the more money we got. The next year it was 500,000. So it was like even better. But as we got to the 500,000 number, the revenue started going down the more emails we got because the quality wasn't there. And so we had to adjust. The next year we didn't choose any goal. And that was actually one of the worst years we've had in our business. Just saying. Yeah. You wouldn't try to drive to a destination without knowing the destination. Right?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
You could. It's not going to get anywhere.
Well, I mean, if you're trying to go Mexico, you'll probably go south, but you might end up in Florida. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah,
that's good. I like that.
So pick a goal and then plan your route to get there. And so in our business, I'll tell you something that I'm challenged with now is that with our companies, we've picked revenue as a goal. And I actually think that's a crappy thing to target. Why? Because it'll make you short-sighted and it doesn't actually align the incentives with the customer. Right? So if you think about Facebook and all these social media platforms, they're not aligned for you. They're aligned to waste all your time. Like they are optimized to get your eyeballs, like this Facebook Live thing and or whatever postings and images. They optimize it for total watch time or total time on their site and total repeat visits over a month because that's how they make money. So you have to think in your business, how do I align what I'm doing with my customer that's good for them and good for me? So what's an example of that, Noah? Great question. Thank you for asking. Sometimes I'm like, is he a dick or am I annoying or do people like him? That's third person talk. So for us, the way I'm looking at it now is how do I get a certain number of customers, which will probably help me, accomplishing a certain thing for themselves. So if you have a business, how do I get 10 customers to get a certain revenue, or my 10 customers get a certain amount of email list? If you're trying to help people grow their email list, like sumo.com, or 10 customers get a certain amount of blog traffic, like HubSpot, or 100 customers get a certain amount of referrals, maybe your referral business. So the point being is that how do you create metrics that give you guidance in the right direction, hopefully up and to the right, and it's a line between you and the customer. And so that's how I'm starting to shift, where instead of saying next year, let's hit a revenue goal, let's hit a success goal for our customers, which will also subsequently help us make a certain amount of money.
Yeah, there's a lot of good things in there when you look at focusing around a central goal. I think it's something that we talk a lot about at HubSpot and a lot about with, HubSpot users, is that you have to have a goal, and regardless of how you plan that goal, whether it's with, making SMART goals, or, you sit down and have an M-spot, which is what we use for every year, have a mission, but you got to have that central goal to make sure everything's aligned around it. Because again, like you said, if you want to get to Mexico and you go south, Florida, probably not too happy.
I mean, Florida's not that bad. I heard a lot of people criticizing Tampa, but I don't care what they say.
I still live in Tampa. I didn't really like visiting there.
I don't know, but people always shit talk on Tampa. The thing with, I think goals have just been always helpful with my business. I mean, everyone can do different thing. I think the one thing I'd recommend with goals, besides mapping it out and trying to understand it, is do two things. One, print it out. Like, I have my goals on my fridge, which was awkward when I was dating and my girlfriend came over before she became my girlfriend. She's like, you want to make that much money, or you want to help this many people, and this is what you're trying. I'm like, yeah. That's my goals. And then it's on my phone, it's on my laptop. See it, print it out, put it out, let it out. Like, just go and put your goals very clear for yourself, and then you're seeing it over and over and over and over again. The second thing is that make sure that everyone in your company or your team knows what the goal is. You should be able to text them, call them anytime, be like, hey, do you know what our goal is? And if they don't, you probably need to be repeating the message over and over. One of my favorite books around that is Mastering the Rockefeller Habits. Vern Harnish, which talks about stuff like that and organizing goals and teams and things like that.
Yeah, I think you just gave Mark Killens, the leader of the Academy team, a very good idea of texting all of us to ask us what the goal of HubSpot Academy is. So
what is the goal?
Our goal is to educate and inspire people so that we together can transform the way the world does business.
And do you have, so I like that. Transform the way we people do, kind of little foo-foo, which is okay. I'm not hating, but do you guys do you have a quantitative goal? So how do you know when you've ended up in Mexico or you've ended up at that place?
There's a lot with HubSpot Academy about how we're ending up in Mexico. Our Mexico is actually the moon. We want to get to the moon by 2020. We talk about it, building platforms, building places for people to connect. Lots of goals there.
Do you guys have like a specific So my recommendation for everyone out there is I have a friend named Charlie, and I love Charlie. He helps howyoubench.com .net, Mark Bell's business. And I love Charlie. And he said we're accountability buddies. So if you don't have an accountability buddy, go get one. Yeah. Make sure they'll hold you accountable, and they'll actually criticize you. And every week he emails me on Monday what he's doing that week. The only thing I would recommend for Charlie is, like, he has goals, but I'm like, Charlie, how do you know when you get there? He's like, I wanted to help more customers. I was like, don't you want to just have a number that might help you know that when you actually get to that amount? Or people say, I want more influence. I'm like, okay, well, how do you know when you have more influence? So I'm more of a fan of having a quantitative thing. It's like, how much money is your bank account? I don't know. There's just some money in there.
I mean, sometimes that's how you have to live your life. You're just like, there's some money in there. I'll handle it.
I think there's a balance between goals and process, right? The goals is the outcome, and the process is the journey of getting there and the habits formations towards that goal. And so there's definitely good about both of them. I think my friend James Clear said it well. It's like, plan for your goal to build with your habits. And so you should, build with the habits of, like, helping customers, but have a goal so you know when you actually get there. Just a thought.
Now, there's a lot of good stuff on building goals. And in the last 10 minutes here, we do have a ton of questions that just came in.
Yes. Oh, I love you guys.
Make sure that everyone gets an answer here. So I'm just going to switch over.
We'll stay here. I'll stay until every single person is answered.
Oh, wow.
Or for 10 minutes, whichever comes first. No, I'm kidding. I'll stay for every single question until it gets answered.
Awesome. So the first one comes from Corey. They say, how do you feel about directly promoting your services in your blog?
When I like analogies because I think it makes it easier for us to process. What's the last good movie, book, or restaurant, Courtney, that you've seen?
I went and saw that movie Coco, the Pixar movie. It's adorable.
And then how did you tell anyone else about it?
Oh yeah. I told Jory, I work with her. She's another inbound professor. I told my mom, I told my friends. I'm going to drag my boyfriend to it. It's great.
But you're not going to email your boyfriend about it because you guys don't email. But hopefully you guys can get in touch with each other. And that's a whole nother topic about how to communicate with your customers because email is getting more challenging. Anyways, the point being is that that's a really great question about how much should you promote yourself? And I like to think about it from the perspective of what am I already recommending and promoting, right? A movie, a restaurant, a book, a TV show. Why do I promote that? I promote it because I think it's good for this other person, because I think they'll enjoy this, or I think they would like to eat that, or whatever it is. And so I think most people don't promote themselves enough because they think, oh, I don't want to bother people. But if you think it's a really good service that you're doing, you should promote yourself. Like I legitimately believe AppSumo is the best place online to get deals for small business owners. It is. So I have no problem all day long telling people to go use it and check it out and all that stuff. Same with Briefcase HQ and same with sumo.com. And so I think for your own service, there is a balance of you want to educate people so that they want to learn about your service. So I think that's probably where you're going with it, which is if you're teaching me something, for example, I had a disc golf coach. I even have a fantasy football coach. This is a whole nother episode. But my disc golf coach taught me something. And she's like, here's how you're going to throw and you're going to change the direction of your disc this way. Right after that, I said, hey, I need a new disc. Which one should I buy? She's like, you're going to go do this. So the point being is that two things. One, go and educate people, which we all hear this stuff before. And I'm sorry it's cliche, but it's true because then I'll trust you. Then hell yeah, promote yourself. You should say look, if you are looking to I'm going to, someone did this really well recently. I really like how they approached it. They go to businesses and they say, hey, let me review your Google Analytics. For free. I'm not selling you anything. You can't give me money. So they review their Google Analytics. They say, here are the 10 things that you should do to fix your Google Analytics. Look, it's free. I told you I'm not going to sell you anything. If you want me to go make the changes for you, then I'll charge you for it. But otherwise, here's the list. Just go do it. And I think that is almost like the most beautiful example of inbound content marketing, education marketing, whatever you want to call it, because you're truly giving them the tool that they can do themselves. Or if they do want to pay, now they can be a customer of your business and it makes sense. I think where there's a disconnect these days is people give out poop and they're expecting gold. And they're giving out PDFs that end up in the cemetery of your downloads folder. And they're like, I don't know why it's not working. I'm like, because it's poop. And so you actually have to give things that are really beneficial to someone. They trust you, like you, then they'll want to probably make some purchase. But definitely put yourself out there if you believe what you're doing is really going to help them.
That's awesome. And so hopefully that'll be able to kick in there because I think that you're spot on. You gotta get out there, gotta give people, what they want. That's why, we produce that education that's free. We want to educate people.
One thing with that, sorry, Courtney, did I cut you off? Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're good. Go for it.
No, it was me, not you. So I think one thing that I would recommend, because a lot of people who are blogging or want to do inbound marketing, I want a blog post and I want thousands of readers. And I would actually almost change your perspective is that how do you just write a blog post for one person? And how do you just communicate with just one person? And even just an email. A lot of my greatest blog posts have become from an email. When someone joins my mailing list, I ask them a question like, hey, what's one thing I can write about? And I would just start responding to every single person. And those actually would become some of my most popular content over the years. So just something mentally to think about instead of how do I reach so many people, worry about the quality of people and worry just one by one. And I know that's not the marketing scaling strategy that everyone wants to hear, but that's actually probably the most effective strategy to grow a sustainable long-term business.
Yeah, connecting with those people one-on-one. That's awesome. We have our next question comes from Chris. I like this one a lot. So kudos to Chris. Can you describe a day in the life of how you attack each day with accomplishing what you set out for? Do you pre-plan each day, the day before or the day of?
What's up, Chris? Thanks for the question. Big shout outs to Cleveland, Ohio. I don't know where you're at, actually. I just made that up. So the way everyone, I think after you get over 25, you don't really change how you do your weeks too often. I don't think you'll fundamentally shift how you're being productive. And I'm only going to tell you what I do. It may not work for you. It may work well. I don't know. And I've put this stuff out on okdork.com and on YouTube. You can search Noah Kagan and see this, exactly what I do. Number one thing is every Sunday, I look at my week and I see what I don't want to do. Every Sunday night, I just go cancel most my meetings. And I just cancel. I look, I'm like, oh, this meeting, don't want to do that. It's not about I just don't want to do it. I think about what do I like, what gives me the most energy or where can I create the most value? and where am I the most like in my sweet spot, and what things am I looking forward to doing? Sometimes, there's always going to be shit work no matter what, but what stuff can I cancel? That's what I look for on Sundays. Second thing I do on Sundays is I have 3 categories: work, workout, and personal. And I write generally 3 to 5 bullet points of what I want to do in each category. So for example, this week I need to update December marketing targets and marketing budget. I need to review King Sumo marketing plan. And I need to do some contract stuff. Those are my 3 major things. So I take my 3 major things and I put them in my calendar. If it's on my calendar, it's going to get done. And I do that the same thing for working out and personal. So like personal, I'm going mountain biking, drinking beer on Saturday. That's in my calendar. I'm looking forward to it. There's 2 other things that I'd probably recommend in terms of output. Number 1, I do 80-20 with my week. So what does that mean? It means Monday through Thursday, I don't do anything but sumo.com. I just don't. 80-20. This is my number 1 priority. Everything goes around that. Fridays are my mess around day. And a lot of times my mess around day, like interviews or podcasts or OkDork or whatever it is, gives me a lot of ideas, experimentation, and creativity that I can then put back into my main project, my main thing, which is sumo. And so that's how I do a majority of the week. The other thing that I found insanely helpful, and try this out for just 30 days. And if that's too much, just try it out for a week. Just the night before, get a note card. And they're small, so you can't really get a big note card. I use either that or a Moleskine. And I just write out the 3 to 5 things that I want to do the next day. Because I notice that sometimes I come in the morning and I just have anxiety. I'm like, what am I going to do today? I don't know. But I list them out. So like today, if I go grab my Moleskine, it's like hang out with HubSpot. I had a chat with Paul English, and I need to do some like another video later in the day for the podcast and stuff like that. So that's like my major 3 things that I already have written out. And I'd say get it done the night before, so you wake up and you're just like fresh to get going on that. There's a bunch of other little things, but I'd say that's the majority of it. One thing, if you don't mind, Courtney, I want to just add is that a lot of people, look, I don't know if I'm the most productive person. I don't have email on my phone. I don't have Facebook on my phone. I don't have Twitter on my phone. I think the thing that I would recommend if people are trying to increase their productivity, there's actually 3 things that are really, really easy you can do within this week, and it'll increase your productivity more than any other hack you're going to read in a blog post. Number 1, buy a better bed. Go buy a better bed. Why? You sleep on that. That's the foundation of your life. Get a better. I have like the best bed, best mattress, sheets, pillows. Like I've tried them all. I use an Amazon one. It's $400. This memory foam with a topper, JCPenney sheets, and My Pillow pillows, and then Tuft & Needle pillows. So I have double pillow. But the point being is like, go experiment for yourself, because that's the foundation of your day. Number 2, get a better computer. If you're on your computer all day long, get the best one possible. Why? If you're slow on this, everything else subsequently is slow. Number 3, learn how to type faster. If you're not typing 90 words a minute, you're slow. You do those 3 things, like everything else in the day is like easy and like marginal. So that's my spiel.
I love it. My bed is my favorite place to be because
it's good, man. I'm gonna throw a bonus in here. Make as many things default decisions as possible. So a lot of stuff in my calendar, like every week in my calendar, it automatically puts my gym times.
Yeah, I do that too.
It's just automatic, because the more you have those, the more you have like, I think one of the worst questions, not in the world, but one of the hardest questions in the world is what's for dinner. I'm like, oh my God, what are you trying to do to me? It's like, I'm like, oh, what's for dinner? There's so many damn options. But if it's just like you're a vegan and it's like, well, I can only eat beans or legumes, whatever the hell they eat, it's much easier. So in general, I think the more that you spend time focusing your energy on the things you want and make more defaults and things you don't. There's a great book, Powerful Engagement. Actually, Brian Balfour from HubSpot recommended it to me. So I recommend that book about how to be more productive, thinking about how you're actually using your energy. That's what I'd recommend.
I love it. So we have time for one last question here.
Oh my God, I love you guys. Thank you guys for the questions. All these stuff. I'm looking at Twitter world. Melissa Randall. So cool.
So we have here, how do you define the price of promoted content? They run a blog and brands are willing to pay to be featured on their blog. However, I find that setting is quite difficult. I don't want to have it based off a CPM because I believe that isn't a good indication for quality. Would you charge hourly or use metrics? And then in all caps, thanks, from Ludwig.
Who was that?
Ludwig.
One coolest name. One of my Starbucks names is Mozart.
Love it.
Just make up a Starbucks name. It's really fun to do. It's like a rap name. So I think there's 2 ways of approaching it. 1, I'll tell you a story. And then 2, I'll recommend what I would do if I were you. The story is from someone who works at HubSpot. His name is Nicholas Holland. He lives in Nashville, Tennessee. He might be in Boston right now. I don't know. But he got a nice Southern accent. And Nicholas, I hired Nicholas to help me with sales. And should I stop the accent? I won't.
Yeah.
No, anyways.
It's like, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't that great. My Southern drawl is not that good, man. But anyways, I met with Nick, and he said he's a sales expert, and he came and he consulted with us at one of my older companies. And I said, Nick, all right, I want to pay you. He's like, all right, no, before you talk about how much you want to pay me, let's talk about how much I've created in money for you. And he's like, what do you think? And I was like, man, some of that stuff you've helped me with, I mean, some of the stuff that I've gotten from you, man, I think we've probably made an extra $1 million this year from the things you've done. He's like, well, $1 million, no, that's pretty good, man. Good for you. I'm really happy. I'm so happy for you. And then he said, well, no, if I asked you for $100,000, it seems like a lot, but I mean, if you made $1 million and I'm only getting 100, that's pretty reasonable, right? And I was like, yeah, that's really good. That was a really good way of framing it. Because I wanted to pay him like $10,000 or $5,000, but when he actually looked at the value being created, it was an easy thing for him to then charge $100,000 for what he was able to create for me. So coming back to your blog post, I'm going to give you 2 recommendations. One, if you're trying to sell sponsored posts, or 2, if you're trying to figure out the ROI from your blog. And that's what we're actually focused on at Sumo. We're doing it right now. In terms of selling sponsored posts, it's exactly that. So what's the company, like if they have a product, what are they selling? How much is that product? So if they have a $100 product, I mean, how many do you think you can sell them? $10,000, $100,000, $5,000? Then you charging them 10% of that, $500, $1,500, $2,000, not a bad deal. The other thing I'd probably recommend you do is put it on a monthly retainer or as a subscription. So say, hey, I need at least 6 months to get it right for you. So let's do a 3-month or 6-month trial to make sure that I can hit your objectives. One of the things that people miss with like selling a promotion is that they need to understand what their customer success metric is. So if you think, hey, there's this much value, I could probably drive 10 sales, but your customer, the person who wants the sponsored post, says, I need 20 to make it worth it, then no matter what, you're not going to be able to deliver for them. So one, ask their success metric. The quick second thing I do want to recommend for everyone who's doing blogging out there or uses content marketing or inbound marketing to grow their business is you need to understand how much you're spending on your content and how many actual customers it's driving, right? So you take the amount you spend, the amount of customers you got, and divide that. That's going to give you your customer acquisition cost. There's more sophistication in that, but basically we did it now, and we found out we're spending almost 4 figures for a customer from our content marketing. That's not good, by the way. That's not good. The point being then now, and then we have a revenue that we get from, we have a lifetime value of, the revenue that a Sumo customer drives each month. And it's like, well, this lifetime value minus this customer acquisition cost should hopefully equal profit over some period of time. You have to understand how long that's going to take. But the most important thing for yourself is, how much am I spending overall for this customer? What's it bringing in? And if it's costing you too much, where can I actually cut, right? Do I need the editor? Do I need to spend less on the Facebook ads? Do I need to think more about SEO? Sorry?
I think we may have just cut out a little bit on you, Noah, but
it's fine.
There, you're back. We are just about wrapping up here. We're just over the 1 o'clock mark, but you had some great advice there on that last question. So hopefully Ludwig will be able to take that and apply it to pricing some of his promoted content. But I just want to thank you for hanging out with me here for the last hour and getting some of this education out to our users.
Thank you guys for having me. This is fun. It's good to think about blogging.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Noah. Have a great rest of your day. Enjoy Canada when you're up there in a little bit. And hopefully we'll chat with you soon.
Namaste, everyone.